Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Fuel community. My name is Wack. Today is April 9th, and today's episode is going to cover a new staking survey that's coming out of ethstaker that you should all take. Also, we're going to be talking about a new research that's coming out of ETH Researcher about correlated penalties, and we're going to talk about some tokenomics ideas and much more. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to be talking about is this new survey that's coming out of ethstaker, and Nixo shared this in trading yesterday, saying node operators, please fill out this survey. We want to create publicly available data that accurately represents what home stakers care about, what kind of software and services we mostly use, what we need, etc. This data can be used to advocate for home stakers in ongoing research based on their own words. Some questions were contributed by researchers themselves. It shouldn't take longer than 15 minutes. Most questions are optional, and no data collected can be tied back to you personally. This the survey software is FOSS. Not sure what FOSS means, but that's cool. It says we hope to repeat the survey every 6 to 12 months to get an idea of how the landscape is changing. Please fill it out and send it to any communities you know with home or solo stakers. It's available in English, Mandarin, Spanish, and Italian. We leave it open for 2 or 3 weeks depending on volume. And says the survey is primarily aimed at those running personal validators anywhere, cloud service, bare metal, at home, with staking service provider like what's it called? I've totally forgotten its name. Anyway, that's fine. As a service provider, mini pools, DVT clusters, i.e. not stakers who only hold LSTs. And then there's a link to the survey. So I already did the survey. So when I try to open the link to the survey, it says that you've already done the survey. Tough luck. So I'm sorry I can't talk you guys through the questions. The questions, like Nixo here says, are quite straightforward. They're about, how you stake, what you stake with, what your ideas are about issuance curve changes, whether or not you're up to date on different discussions that are taking place in the staking landscape. Also, there are questions regarding things like EigenLayer and what you feel about EigenLayer, whether you're excited about it, worried about it. Like me, I'm worried and excited about it. So there's that. But yeah, sadly, I've already taken this, so I can't take it again. There's an error message that comes up on the screen. As you can see right here, it says you've already completed the survey. So I can't do it again, but it's a nice little survey. Nixo, like Nixo said, it takes about 15 minutes. I think 15 minutes is the highest end of the time that it takes. It probably is going to take you about maybe 10 minutes. But yeah, up to 15 minutes, I guess. But it was a nice little survey, and this research, like Nixo says, will be used in advocating on behalf of solo and home stakers. I think the question about issuance might be quite interesting. So I'm interested to see what the research comes out of there, and also about the EigenLayer stuff, and DVT stuff as well, I guess. But I'll definitely share the results with you once that all becomes public. Okay, next we have some ETH Researcher blog post here, which is by Neurolation, and they're saying that this is analysis on correlated attestation penalties. Now, let me explain to you what this means. So when your validator goes down, it means you stop attesting, you miss proposals, you miss your sync committee if you're part of it, you miss all of that stuff. So currently, if you are a home staker or any kind of staker, every attestation you miss about the amount that you'd be earning from that, you lose as a penalty. And with proposals, if you miss the penalty, I think there's some punishment, but I'm not sure exactly how much it is. And with sync committees, it's about the same, where if you are in the sync committee and if you're missing your attestations, then you will be losing as much as you're doing with regular attestations. Now, the idea, the gist of this research that's happening, this discussion that's taking place, is Vitalik said maybe we can do some correlated penalties, and correlated penalties work like this. If you are a validator who is a home validator and you have 5 mini pools or 5 any kind of validators, I guess, if those go down, that is such a small percentage of stake on Ethereum that it doesn't really impact you too much. Like, the rewards that you'll be losing is about the rewards that you're earning, basically. The idea is, of course, on Ethereum, like that, you're such a small amount, you're like pretty much insignificant, sadly. However, if you, for example, are a Coinbase validator, or if you are the Coinbase validator, I think then you have one validator. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. No, Frax. Yeah, Frax only has one validator. So if you're Frax, you've got like 1 or 1.5% of the market share, and you are validating. Now, what happens with Frax is that you, if your validator goes down, that's actually correlated with your, not just your one validator, but like 1% of the network goes down. So what would happen under this is your penalties would be amplified. So you would lose more rewards as opposed to just being, one one home staker with a couple of validators. You lose less potentially than the current system right now. So the reason for this research and the idea behind it is, like I said, Vitalik talked about this in his recent proposal. He basically is saying that the good thing that would happen with this is it would help decentralization and decentralized staking entities, and they would get punished less. So that it would promote decentralization. I actually really like this. I haven't dug into the research too much, but from what I've seen, I do like it. And one of the interesting things, like you can read the report yourself, but one of the really interesting things is this chart at the end, which is an appendix, which kind of shows how things will change depending on what like validator set it is. So for example, Lido, on the screen, there's names of different operators, the top 20 operators, and next to that they have their current situation, which is in pink, and their correlation penalties. That is what the punishment would be under the new system. So then there's the chart at the bottom. The sum of penalties is like the sum. That's the amount that they get punished, I guess, on every X time frame. So for example, Lido get around 250 sum of penalties at the moment, but their penalties under the new system would go up a little bit, like maybe 5%. Then there's unidentified, theirs would go down. Coinbase would stay about the same, Binance would stay about the same, Kiln would stay about the same. Now for Rocket Pool, this would actually make the situation much better. So currently our sum of penalties is about 300, and it would go down to about 210. So that's nearly a 33% reduction in our penalties, which means our ETH holders would be getting better rewards, which is actually really cool. And then for a lot of them, the change isn't that much for the more centralized, staking entities. However, for solo stakers, they'd go down from about 275 to also about 210. So they're getting about 20% reduction or 25% reduction in their penalties, which is really cool. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, I think the situation should be exacerbated. It should be made even stricter. There are a couple of outlier situations where this could be really bad. For example, North America, there is a countrywide internet problem, which does happen in some countries, geographic regions more than countries as a whole. But say, for example, the internet goes down in the US for some reason. Like the majority of ETH staking is in the US. I think with other countries making up, not the majority, it's the biggest minority geographic region. So if all American validators go down, that's like 20-30% of stake. At that point, they would get punished quite a lot, even though it might be out of their hands, right? And that's one of those situations where it would not be good. But other situations where if Lido goes down, then they get punished more harshly, for example, than Rocket Pool going down, because it wouldn't be Rocket Pool. Well, actually, it depends on how Rocket Pool goes down. So, for example, if there's a problem with the smart node stack and Rocket Pool goes down and all of Rocket Pool's node operators go down, then at that point, what would happen is you would your correlated penalties would be higher. But for example, Thomas, I've covered that on the show. Sometimes he has bad internet connection. If Thomas goes down, then his penalties would be less than they currently are, which is nice. So I think like this is still like the research is still happening here. So this is just some analysis on Vitalik's post that you can read as well. It's linked in the post. I covered it in the show briefly a few weeks ago, I think. 2 weeks ago. But you can go and have a look at both of those a little bit more closely if you are interested in that. Okay, next we've got some more tokenomics discussion that's been happening. So Samus has been kind of replying to some information and kind of gathering some ideas. So for example, here, Nick from NodeSet was saying that universal variable commission in isolation, especially if managed one parameter, collateralization, doesn't seem like too much of an issue. With the cocktail of proposals, I think there's a decent chance that universal variable commission could cause friction tension between various parties, but it's hard to predict. the more knobs/parties, the harder it becomes to balance stakeholder interests. So Samus kind of replied to that by saying, historically, UVC mostly seemed to reference adjusting the total RETH fee and decreasing commission to node operators accordingly. Seems like you are supportive of that idea, and then also you threw out the example that in this message of allowing UVC to adjust collateralization requirements and maybe minimum RPL requirements. So then Samus kind of went through and like gathered some ideas. He says, I think Val said these ideas actually have some amount of convergence when you compare at maturity. Now he's comparing the ideas from NodeSet and the ideas from Val and Samus, saying that the NodeSet example, UVC controls the RPL value capture, node operator commission to funding/teams, and total RETH fees, which is 2 plus 3. At maturity, he says that collateralization requirement doesn't make much sense. If 100% of RPL is staked, no one is actually earning anything. Everyone is just being diluted and forced to opt into staking RPL to avoid dilution. It says NodeSet seems to agree that long term we should remove RPL emissions. So the only real form of value capture that would remain is having a minimal RPL requirement to start new pools. This is not real value capture mechanisms if it continues to operate similarly today as a security deposit where you can put down the minimum requirement one time and it gives you access to ETH commission in perpetuity even if RPL ETH ratio changes. At maturity, you could picture a relatively static set of node operators. We are at self-limit, and in this world there is no new purchase of RPL since everyone already met the one-time RPL collateralization requirement. Node operators does decide to leave, they can also sell the RPL since they get it back like a security deposit. The one way I can see it possible to make the RPL requirement a sustainable value capture mechanism in perpetuity is to enforce the collateralization ratio by reducing ETH commission proportional to your RPL collateralization. At this point, though, the ideas really begin to converge with our tokenomics proposal, since you are basically enforcing some constant percentage of ETH commission to be directed to RPL. You just give node operators a choice for when they should swap their ETH commission to buy RPL. This has the downside of being unpredictable for both node operators and for us as a protocol, versus our tokenomics proposal where the protocol predictably, consistently directs revenue to RPL. So it says, at maturity, I would imagine NodeSet's version of UVC would look like this. And then just kind of breaks down the points a little bit. And right, so they're just talking about what it's going to look like at maturity and how the parameters are going to work and how it's quite similar to the Val and Samus stuff. And then you can go ahead and read that post yourselves. And it says the biggest issue I have with the NodeSet report, any alternative proposal that looks more similar to existing tokenomics, is the lack of discussion around how number one should be determined. And number one, of course, here is the RPL value capture, and should be determined and adjusted over time. So RPL value capture, minimal RPL requirement, collateralization requirement. And on top of that, Samus also, he says he finished putting together he went through all the community feedback, and I think I was able to distill all the concerns into a simple list. I also broke down the topics by category so we can focus discussions on contentious topics rather than ones that are university supported. If you have any concerns or ideas not captured in the sheet, please let me know and I can update the sheet. So this is actually a really cool Google sheet that Samus made, and it's got all the different topics. So there are 12 different topics: LEB4s, megapools, forced exits, forced delegate upgrades, a UVC, that's Universal Variable Commission, RPL emissions inflation reduction, protocol revenue funding the team or the DAO, protocol ETH revenue to RPL stake node operators, and allow ETH only node operators paid with ETH protocol revenue. And the first ones that I mentioned were all universally supported. This ETH only node operators is mostly supported to some contention. And then we have allow ETH only node operators paid with, sorry, I just said that. Protocol ETH revenue to all RPL holders, that's mostly supported. Universal variable revenue split to determine 7 to 10, that's mostly supported, and sublinear bonding is mostly supported. And in the full list of concerns here, we have sublinear bonding, we have protocol revenue to RPL holders, and we also have protocol ETH revenue to all node operators, universal variable revenue split, changing too quickly, the idea of change itself as being an issue, validator queues, and the key man risk. And that's a combo of sublinear bonding plus ETH only may allow institutions to manage a high proportion of rocket pool validators than we prefer. So with all of these, you can have different topics where there's ideas that are being shown. So this is the one for sublinear bonding, and it's just tabs on the bottom of the page. ETH revenue to all RPL, and then examples are there as well. And then there's information about the node set report and ideas around that and how that's all looking and what's going on with that. And then there are feedback summary. There's stuff that's mentioned there. And there's RockNet as well, areas of discussion, mostly agree, disagree areas as well. So you can go and have a look at all of these and see how it all looks for your according to your ideas, and you can provide feedback to Samus. But he's put a lot of work into this, which is really cool to see. Okay, next we're going to be talking about Rocket Pool's Treasury report. So this is something that was, the treasurer is Vaka, and he says if you need an intro on how PDAO Treasury works, check this post. This period saw the payment of 9,933 RPL, and that's for the IMC, and 4,072 RPL for the GMC respectively. This period saw the PDAO reserve received 6,000 RPL from inflation. Its balance is now 47,000 RPL, and this period the PDAO allocation was updated from 24.1% to 27.4%, which provides us with an extra 2,500 RPL each period. The IMC and GMC received a bit less than 50% and 20.5% of the PDAO inflation this period, to compensate having received more than they were due 2 periods ago. Last period saw the largest PDAO reserve, which was RPIP 37, which is the team funding, and that was 49,420 RPL was sent to the development team to fund development from October 26th until of 2023 to October 24th of 2024, and this represents 54% of the PDAO reserves that went from 91,000 RPL to 41,000 RPL. So you can keep up with the treasury with the following spreadsheets, and you can read those as you go. So thank you, Vaka, for that great report. And I think there's going to be in 1 month or 2 months the final adjustment of the awards, the inflation allocation will change, and the PDAO will be getting 28.5%. The ODAO will be getting 1.5%, and the node operators will be getting 70% of inflation. That's really cool to see. Okay, next we had an update from Sneaky Ninja Guy, who now goes by Jester. I might just start calling him Jester because that's what you all see on your screen, but it's Sneaky. And he says that the next reward period snapshot is going to happen about 28 and a half minutes before the rewards period ends. So that's the final collateral snapshot. So for example, if you are at 9%, you won't know how much RPL to add to your validator until that 30 minutes before the snapshot happens. So you won't get an exact number unless you're going like right into the last minutes, which is a real shame because like the longer time you have, the more people can make an accurate purchase and stake of their RPL to make sure they're getting rewards for that period. But this one's really tight, so people will have to estimate. However, in the last few months, what's happened on rewards day itself is that the ratio has gone up nicely for people buying and topping up their validators. So if you buy some hours beforehand, you can be fairly sure, I think, that you'll be okay going into the rewards period, unless someone tries to take advantage of that and like dump some RPL right as a snapshot takes place. Otherwise, you should be okay. So keep that in mind. I know it's not good UX this month, but hopefully next month it will be better. Okay, non-fungible Yokum made this post in governance, under the GMC public thread, saying this is the thing now, and it's beta, which is mevmonitoring.org, and it says initial documentation and README is available. It says the JSON export process from my database is progressing about 54 epochs per minute. It should finish sometime tomorrow. I think I'd get this out to the open. Have fun, folks. So what is this? This was Yokum's grant that he won for doing MEV monitoring, and he basically monitors all the MEV that's happening on Rocket Pool with all our validators and see who is, how they're getting it, where it's going, whether there's any shenanigans going on, any of that kind of stuff. So this is MEV monitor beta data, Bo beta, It says, at long last, the initial data availability of MEV monitor relay data is now available at betadata.mevmonitor.org. It says, what's all here? Relay data from the following relays. That's blocks route ethical, blocks route max profit, blocks route regulated, block native, flashbots, Eden, ultrasound, Astus, secure RPC, agnostic, and when merge. And then there's information on how all the data is organized as well, and the reasons for organizing it this way, and also an information about why it took so long. There were some bugs, and then attempts to export data meant that there was some duplication happening, and then just personal life stuff as well. And yeah, there's still some stuff to do here that's mentioned at the bottom, but you can get that information. So if you have a look at the actual list itself, this is just an index of, and then these are all the different eras. So for example, if you click on era 00573, which seems to be the latest one, then that has a whole lot of blocks here. And if you click on that, it's actually a JSON. Let me see. I try to open it. Sorry, I can't get it to open on my screen, so you can't see it. But there's some information there that you can see. About that block and what was going on in there. So thank you so much for Yoakum for putting that together. I'm sure that'll be of really good use to the community for people who want to get that info. Okay, so talking about MEV stuff here, Ramana was flagging up some issues that were coming up with a block. A node operator said, Ramana said, the 4 blocks were proposed by a Rocket Pool node operator with all the execution layer rewards burned. So what was going on over here? Well, this kind of started a whole discussion, and this was there was like a whole discussion kind of went back and forth, and Noshua said it's likely just this Avado bullshit. It's not the first time Avado users are using 0x0 as a fee recipient. So Avado, of course, is a hardware provider that have their own front end like GUI for staking. It's supposed to make staking easy. However, their Rocket Pool implementation has a lot of problems, so much so that people like Patches say that don't use Avado, and basically like it's just not a good service for Rocket Pool. But it seems like there was a bit more going on about like checks on the fee recipients and how all that is set up. So Ramana was saying that it seems like there's actually no checks on the correct fee recipient anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter. It says the reward tree spec doesn't include nodes if they are using a wrong fee recipient, and none of the smart contracts check it either. So I think this was like quite a technical conversation, so it might be worth it to kind of dig into it, and like if you're interested in that, to check out what was happening, just follow the links. But yeah, this is something that Ramana was quite passionate about, but I'm not sure exactly of the full details of what was happening there. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff now. So here, Miko who's Pablo, you might know him as Pablo from Twitter, formerly part of the Diva staking team, came into Friends and shared some ideas about when Diva might be going live. He says it seems like mainnet is around the corner. I imagine the team will propose a vote for transferability of the Diva token soon. There's some announcements coming this week. Could be Diva transferability, or might be other tokens or stuff they've been working on. I'm hoping it's the staking part, which I think has the most potential. So with Diva, I thought the DAO was supposed to vote on the tokens becoming transferable, but according to Miko Pablo here, it might be that the team just turns that on. I'm not sure. But then over here with Diva staking as well, so they said that we have some exciting news for the Ethereum community. Please join us and stay until the end for a special announcement. That's happening on Thursday, April 11th. And then we got another tweet from them as well saying, let me show you all here. So this is from Diva saying something is brewing, and it's like a progress bar at 99%. And there's like a video of some person about centralization and stuff. So it looks like they're getting ready to launch. And then I guess the token transferability will be happening soon as well. I'm hoping that they can catch some hype and the token's worth something, because I want to sell my tokens and buy something with it. But yeah, that's cool news. Good luck to Diva. Okay, next we've got mainnet launch announcement from EigenLayer as well, and this is saying EigenLayer and EigenDA. What's going on over here? They're saying like the start of the infinite sum games. That's the idea for like staking Ethereum through ABSs and restaking and all that kind of stuff, adding security to them through EigenLayer. And then they are saying that there is actually, let's just see. So EigenLayer was just an idea. Restaking launched on Ethereum mainnet in June 2023. In ensuing months, we've been deeply inspired by the crypto community's enthusiasm for EigenLayer's vision. Today, there is over 4.1 million ETH restaked on EigenLayer. In the past few weeks, 70% of all new Ethereum validators restaked to EigenLayer. The LRT ecosystem is booming. The EigenLayer and EigenDA, Gurley, and Leshy testnets have been successful with hundreds of active operators and dozens of onboarded rollups. We've heard you loud and clear. You want EigenLayer. Today we deliver with the help of our entire community, restakers, operators, ABSs, and rollups. We're proud to launch EigenLayer and EigenDA on mainnet. So it says visit the upgraded EigenLayer app and documentation to help us continue supercharge. So it says new functionality as of today. Restakers can delegate their entire stake to an operator of their choice. Operators can register with EigenLayer and opt into running ABSs. ABSs can register with the protocol, starting with EigenDA, currently in beta. Till now, restaking EigenLayer meant simply depositing LSTs or setting validator withdrawal credentials to an EigenPod. Now the operators and an ABS, EigenDA, are live. Being an active restaker means delegating to one of the top 200 operators running ABSs. And over the next few weeks, we expect high operator turnover in the top 200 active set as new operators, delegates, and ABSs come online. Please make an informed decision when delegating, though you can always redelegate later. So I guess it's live. I don't think there's too much functionality just yet, but it looks like they're up and going. So you can now set to opt into services with EigenLayer and the ABSs, and maybe you can start earning some rewards. But it looks like the EigenDA is still in beta form, so please be careful about that. But yeah, good stuff, EigenLayer. Anyway, on that note, thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have had a lovely day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.